Good afternoon, Year 5. This will be your Monday afternoon lesson. We're going to focus on Judaism, which is what we touched on Friday, and we're going to complete it today. What I'll do is I'll do a little bit of a recap about what we covered on Friday, and then we will move on to what I want to focus on today. What we looked at on last Friday was the Jewish festival of Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year. This starts after 10 days of awe, and it ends with Yom Kippur. And Yom Kippur is just the Day of Atonement, and it's a time for asking for forgiveness. That time for forgiveness is sprinkled out throughout 10 days, so it's a time where they reflect on those 10 days and think about all the things that they've done. The first 2 days is the Jewish New Year, and this celebrates the creation of the world. It's also a time where Jewish people believe that God judges them on how they've done over the past year and decides what the next year is going to be like for them. And it's also, as I said before, it's a time for asking for forgiveness. So thinking about all the sins that they might have committed over the last year, a time for asking forgiveness for those. They celebrate this by going to a synagogue first. So a bit like how a Christian goes to church or a Muslim goes to a mosque, a Jewish person will go to a synagogue. At the service, a shofar is blown, and this signifies the start of the 10 days of awe. When the service is finished, they will go home and have a meal that contains these 4 things. The first thing they'll have is apples dipped in honey. This is to symbolize a sweet new year that they hope will lie ahead for them. Then they'll have something called as timins. That's a sweet carrot stew, and this symbolizes reproduction, as in the start of the new year. Challah bread, this is the circle of life, so that might be in memory of any children they got, and it's the year because it's a complete circle. And then they'll also have pomegranates, and as they believe, this contains 613 seeds, and this represents the 613 laws Jewish people must stick to. So in the next 5 days, so day 3 to 8, that's when the Jewish people reflect on the past year and reflect on how they can change their behavior in order for the year to come to be the best possible one that they can be. It is a chance for them to put things right with people. In case they might have annoyed somebody or upset somebody, it's a chance for them to put that right in effect, so that they can start off the new year with a clean slate. On day 9, this is where many Jewish people will have a ritual bath, and that is to cleanse themselves of all the bad things that they have done. And so they'll spend a couple of days thinking about it, and then once they've thought them, they'll have a bath to clean themselves. After that, they'll have a big meal. They'll have a big meal because then for the next 25 hours, they will start a long fast. And that fast begins at sunset. And then it comes to the Day of Atonement, when they are asking for forgiveness. This is the most sacred and solemn day of the Jewish calendar, so it's really, really special to them. They won't go to work, the children won't go to school. They'll make sure that they put all their energy into this day because it is that important to them. Again, like I said before, it's a day to reflect on the past and ask for God's forgiveness for any sins. So, and like I said here, atonement is saying sorry, making amends, and sometimes it's done in a practical way. So it might be giving gifts, it might be getting the present for somebody who you want forgiveness from. So, how is this day celebrated? So there are 5 services at the synagogue, and the day is mostly spent in prayer, asking for forgiveness. When at a synagogue, they will wear mostly white, as this is a sign of purity. And like I said before, they will fast for 25 hours, so that means no food or drink unless you are under the age of 13, are ill, or any pregnant woman. And to maintain the idea of purity, no makeup or perfume is to be worn by anybody. And then, a little bit like how the shofar is blown to start the 10 days, a shofar is blown to also end the 10 days. So that was just a little recap of what we covered on Friday. So the first 2 days is the Jewish New Year, where they celebrate the creation of the world. Days 3 to 8 is where they reflect on the year and any sins that they may have committed. Day 9 is they have a ritual bath and a big meal ready for the fast. And then day 10, they'll go to the synagogue and they will spend most of the day in prayer. So, what I want us to do today is think about all the things that we might have got wrong in the past year and how we can make up for those. So this might be really simple things like not listening to your parents, annoying your brothers or sisters, doing something wrong at school. So thinking about all the little things that you done wrong over the past year, having a little think about them and think about how you can make those better. So for example, if it's your brother or sister, especially for the younger ones, you might want to help them with their home learning or their homework. If your parents, you might want to do some house chores that they haven't asked you to do, so like washing the pots, putting things away. So all of these things that you can think about in order to make yourself a better person. So I'm thinking about practical ways of making it up to them. So, and I want you to think about these 4 questions in particular. So, what's the most important thing in your life? Who means the most to you in your life, and how often do you let them know? What are the most important things that you have achieved in this last year? And what would you like to achieve in the next year? So I'm going to have a little go at answering these questions. So the most important thing in my life, for example, right now, is probably my family, because obviously this year has been very, very hard for everybody, these last 12 months. Obviously, with lockdown and staying at home all the time, especially with living on my own, sometimes it can become a little bit tricky. So it's nice to know that my family and friends are there for me, so that I can talk to them, so I'm not completely on my own and isolated. So yeah, it's that feeling of being together. Who means the most to me in my life, and how often do I know? So again, that might, for me, it might be my parents, it might be my partner who has helped me through this lockdown. Being able to see them, which has been nice to see human contact. So again, for you, it might be your parents, it might be your friends, it might be your siblings, it might be an auntie or uncle. But who means the most to you in your life so far? And again, what are the most important things that you have achieved in the last year? So one of the things that I have done is I have passed my theory test, so I can start learning to drive. That's a terribly exciting thing. I've been putting it off for years and years and years, and I finally started to do it. And I passed that test in I think in August, which was quite a nice time. Again, for some of you, this might be a little bit tricky because of the amount of time that you have spent in lockdown. And then what would you like to achieve in the next year? So thinking about these next 12 months, what's the one thing that you look at this year and go, yeah, I really want to do that. So for some of you, it might be his times tables medal. It might be doing really well at school. It might be doing really well at mosque. For me, I would like to finally get my driving license, be able to drive, because it's been a very long time in the works for me personally. So those are all things that I am hopefully looking forward to do. So, and then a time for asking for forgiveness. So, what things might we do wrong? So, this is more hypothetical. So, again, it might be not always doing your homework on time, not always trying your best when it comes to doing your work at home. It might like being rude to somebody where you don't mean to be. It might be staying up too late. And again, how could you atone for these, and how could you make these better? So I'm just going to show you the thing that which will be on Teams hopefully after you've watched this lesson. So all it is a sheet with those questions on, and obviously the red text is a sentence starter for you to start your sentence with. So it's all about, this lesson is very much about self-reflection, about how you, for this year, could try and make yourself a better person, not just for you, but for your family, for your friends as well, and think about how you can help other people. So I appreciate sometimes thinking about yourself in that way can be quite difficult. But if you do this, you might think of ways that you can make yourself better and be a better person. So I look forward to seeing some of this work that you have done. If you submit it on Teams a normal way, that would be fantastic. And I will see you Tuesday morning for literacy at 9 o'clock. Make sure you submit it and have a good day.